Good morning. It's a pleasure to be speaking to all of you at Hinduja Hospitals, and thank you, Joy, for inviting me. Uh, I know that your topic and Hinduja team is very committed to patient centricity and patient safety, but thank you for giving space to a patient whom I represent here. Patient safety is a lot discussed topic, but it actually begins not in a committee room, not in a seminar room, or even a policy document, but it starts in the hospital room where patients and families actually are. I had this case where a caregiver who was a doctor herself shared her story about how her father was undergoing a surgery, and last minute the doctor and the surgeon decided to change the procedure, and very rushed in a manner they took the consent. However, the doctor did not have enough patient's critical information on clinical history, and there was an episode and she lost her father. So it is these moments when a patient or a grieving daughter realizes that they were the final and the failed safety net is what we will discuss today. For us in India, we always say doctor is God, and we believe in it. We believe that we are in safe hands. In healthcare, we have very competent doctors. They have adopted the latest technology, robotics, imaging, new diagnostic checks. We have checklist, accreditation. But in spite of all these systems, 1 in 10 people in hospitals suffer harm, avoidable harm. And this is not only happening in India, it's happening across the world. So, why, when we have built systems, do we still have these issues? The issue is that we have built these systems for patients, but we haven't built patients into the system. And we hope that that will change. Now, for that, it's important that we listen to patient and patient's voice. What is patient's voice? It's not a complaint, it's not a crib, it's not a demand. And I know that there are some patients who don't know how to behave, and they are demanding, but that's a very small percentage. In majority of the cases, patients don't come by choice. They come because they are distressed, they are worried, and they are very anxious about their health or their loved one's health. So the question for us is, how do we get and give them a voice and listen and act on them? So, patient's voice helps us to understand whether they're getting better or worse, whether they're feeling afraid, and what actually helped them get better. It's actually more than treating just the disease. Now, what are these patients' voice and how do they show up? There are voices which are of experience. What happened to me during admission? And the example could be I wasn't informed to bring my previous reports and prescriptions, and hence the doctor had to prescribe without them. There could be a voice of safety which says, what nearly went wrong? Where did I feel unsafe? For example, a new shift nurse, and this is an actual example of my mother, she was about to give my mother her morning medications the second time because she did not check the system where the previous nurse had already given it, or maybe she didn't record it. So the question then comes is, how do we ensure that we capture the voice, and where's the gap? We all intend to know what the patients feel like, but where is the gap? The issue is that the feedback is mainly taken post discharge. Now, healthcare really depends on qualitative data, as I mentioned. They talk about surveys, then surveys only rate 1 to 5, they don't capture the voice. We have accreditation that happens, and those accreditations tends to become a documentary proof. Audits happen, but audits check whether the process exists. It does not check whether the process works for the person on the bed. So these surveys, which is the main way that we are actually collecting information in a structured manner, does not reveal a 4 out of 5 rating, does not reveal whether a patient signed a consent form which he didn't understand, or the discharge summary was gibberish to a family and they didn't know how to manage the patient at home, or it may not even revealed where the patient felt that something was wrong and he felt afraid, but he could not speak up to the person in the white coat. So there are opportunities that we have, just like I gave you at a discharge time. Now, these stories are not anecdotes. They are qualitative evidence of system failure, and most of these stories have patterns. That is why adverse events continue globally as well, and in India, a lot of preventable medical errors remain underreported. How do we convert these so-called anecdotal evidence into patient evidence and collectively ensure that we act on it? So we ourselves, this foundation that we run on patient for patient safety, we realize how much good work is being done by hospitals. And we found that there are possibilities of patients playing a big role on how they can ensure their own safety and help the healthcare providers. So we mapped the entire journey from home, the first symptoms, to getting into an OPD, maybe a hospitalization, and then recovery at home. And at every single point of moments of truth that were there, we said there is an opportunity of these touch points where we can share what the patient should be doing and also capture patient's voice of what they feel they would like to see. So if we can capture these voices, I think we can change things, we can reduce readmissions, and we can reduce the workload that today doctors and nurses have. So we are expecting doctors and nurses to do more communication, to collect this data and all that stuff. But then where is the time? So today AI tools are available. We are using them extensively all across. These AI tools can help categorize thousands of stories, written or voice. So you don't need a lot of people to do it. In fact, just ask a question and patient will speak. And now because of AI, it can convert any language, it can determine the patterns and actually give you a report showing what is the trend and so on. I think this is when the patient stories will become evidence. As we were reading on patient safety and what is patient's role, this very important international example appeared, which I'm sure all of you are aware of, which is known as the Martha's rule. Martha was a 13-year-old girl in UK. She was part of the NHS system. She was hospitalized and she wasn't doing well. Her parents were raising an alarm that she's not well, but the treating doctor said, no, she's fine. And they didn't take her into ICU and she passed away. And when this was analyzed, they all agreed that if another team had reviewed her, maybe they would have moved her. So this Martha's rule now says that the patient or the caregiver has the right to ask for a rapid review by a different team. And that also the staff, if they feel that a patient is deteriorating, she can actually escalate it to a higher level. So there are these things that have patient voices have led to solutions. And, I'm sure in Hinduja we have adopted this, but why not in all other hospitals? We have many such solutions that we have developed, which are text or posters or videos, where the doctor does not have time to advise the patients on how to take care and how to prevent falls. But, just in a hospital setting, a QR code can tell and teach a person on the precautions they need to take. In our case, to make patients speak, we know especially because we have language issues, there are literacy issues, it becomes difficult. So we have to actually encourage them that they speak up. We have to encourage our junior staff, right, who are feared contradicting seniors, that they should be able to speak. We at Patient Safety Foundation had recommended that we set up patient advisory councils in all hospitals, where in a very structured manner we can get well-meaning patients who can give actual suggestions on how to resolve some of these issues. I'm happy to see that NABH is now put this in their next one, but I hope it is implemented not just in letter but in spirit as well. I think giving a seat to the patient on the table is extremely important because they know best when the shoe is pinching. They know what feels unsafe, even though the checklist said everything was done. I think good practices like the Martha's rule should get implemented. Actions should actually also be then documented and be transparent. I think we should let people, we should share with them saying, you gave these suggestions, this is what we did with it. We found a solution, this is what we did. And I think it would be helping build trust as well. So do share that you got feedback and you worked on it. But I want to bring out another topic, right? Is this only the responsibility of healthcare providers? No. I think patients and families have a big role to play. We ourselves are not fully informed. We make mistakes. We don't prepare before a doctor's visit. We don't follow up on treatment plans. We don't ask pertinent questions. And this is exactly what we do for patients. So we reach out to a very large number of people today. We reach out to 15 lakh households where every week they get some material which is in a friendly language, no medical jargon, which talks about what errors can be caused because of patients' errors and how can they spot when a harm is likely to occur and they can stop it. This content is now available in multiple languages. So I think we together, and I hope this meeting would take a commitment to do 4 things. 1, we will create opportunities to listen to patients. Listening is a skill, and I'm sure your training programs will provide you that. And based on that listening, we identify systemic issues. Secondly, we involve patients in finding the solutions. Whether it is through patient advisory councils or even when a patient said something didn't work, we can ask them, what do you think would have helped? We can also partner with organizations like ours and many other organizations that are patient organizations who know and who can tell you what possibly is a good solution. Of course, the final call is that of the hospital. Third, do close the loop with the patients. When I would visit a hospital and if there was a board which said patient corner and it says, this is what you told us and this is what you did, my trust with that hospital and with the system would become better and I will be encouraged to speak up. And I think it will also encourage other staff members to speak up. Fourth, whatever works in one floor, in one department, should scale to the whole hospital, and what works for a hospital should be shared with other hospitals because patients' voice is important and safety is not a competitive advantage. It is a shared obligation. It takes a while to do all that we discussed. It needs conviction, firm belief, willingness to change culture to make it work. And I'm sure given the focus that Hinduja Hospital has in this, and I've known Joy for many, many years, I know that you are already doing it and will do it even further conviction. I think we must recognize and accept the fact that the patient who's wearing the hospital gown has expertise in their own body. They know their body better. They know their own safety and they know their dignity. She has only one expectation: to have her safe health for herself and her family. We owe it to her. Thank you for listening to me, and I am looking forward to further interactions with the team. Thank you, Joy, for inviting me.